When you're a golden brown monoracial black girl, I think one of the first things you do well to accept is that when the colorism conversation is brought up, you are not on the end you think you're on. If your complexion falls somewhere smack dab in the middle, you are, and you happen to fit some whatever society standard of attractive is for black women or women in general, you're going to be on the side where we don't care about them light skin tears. And that is the first thing you need to know when you are trying to navigate this world and you're interfacing with black women of all different complexions. A lot of times, your golden brown skin is lighter than some of the people around you if you are in predominantly black spaces. And that's not something you necessarily notice until you find a space like this. And, a lot of your experiences are coinciding with the experiences of women who are multiracial, as in their parents are different or have different backgrounds of different ethnicities, and not the 15% admixture that you can find out about on ancestrydna.com. So that's the first thing. I think as soon as you accept that when it comes to how you may be perceived in the world, your golden brown is light to some people. And most people who are in the black community will not consider that dark skin. You have to almost go outside of the black community into Indian communities or Latin communities for golden brown skin to be considered dark. And so when it comes to interfacing and interacting with women who are victims, true victims of colorism, you have to know that whatever experiences they went through in middle school, elementary school, some of them do have that mindset where they want to humble women who have been pedestalized. They're here to let you know they don't really think much of you. And I did not know that until I actually heard a darker skinned woman say that. That's not every dark skinned woman, but you can't, it's not an uncommon experience to be met with that stank look when you just there, to greet people and move around. So that's number one. Just accept it. You are considered to be an exotical, and if you have it deeply rooted in your mind that exotic, being from a different country or having like a very standard ambiguous look is the only way to be exotic, you're going to have a harder time in life because of not being able to accept and perceive your own privileges the way that other people do. you know, Perception, I hate to say perception is reality, but if you are being perceived as someone benefiting from certain traits, it doesn't matter that you don't consider yourself to be benefiting from those traits. It doesn't matter if you want to reject the benefits that come along with those traits. You just might as well go ahead on and go ahead on and accept it so that you can just deal with it. You can get it out the way. I don't like to do a lot of talking about the law of assumption because it kind of gets over into like, a religious, new age religious conversation, because those are terms that are used in new age religion. But these laws and principles exist because of human nature. And from a principle standpoint, the law of assumption, having a certain thought in your mind causes you to experience a certain reality. So if your thought is, I'm just like everyone else, I am going to maintain my relatability, I am not going to feed into colorism, I'm going to reject it. You can enter spaces feeling that way, but you're still going to be met with people who perceive you differently. And so you might as well go on ahead and assume that based on how things work over here in the US, you've been dealt the cards you've been dealt, and you need to play your hand and just go with the, just accept your privileges. Accept them. Just accept them and maintain your humility, which is, this is a 2-part video. That's what I'm gonna talk about in the next, what humility is and what it is not, in my next video. But I think I've had such an internal struggle trying to make sure that people did not perceive me as thinking more of myself than I do, and making sure that I stayed relatable, and making sure that I highlighted even flaws and failures to maintain said relatability, only to find out that even the relatable version of me, even my failures, even my flaws, are triggering for certain types of women. And it has become, it's a pattern. I am so tired of entering workspaces where even my most relatable self is triggering. Most recently, a few months ago, I actually got fired, unjustly fired, because of a coworker, an attractive, dark-skinned, unambiguous Black woman who just came for my head and she just could not handle. I was just too triggering for her. And in my most recent experience here recently, in my new job, someone actually went into my Excel sheet and typed over my data. And instead of recognizing that they were in my work and not theirs, they let me know that they quote unquote accidentally typed over my work. Not that they went back and took corrective measures and fixed the problem, but that they typed over it and saved it. Now, you know the way that I am submitted to God. So I have faith and I exercise my faith, and I was able to, after an hour, be able to retrieve my data. But the fact remains, I'm having these type of issues because I'm triggering people around me. Doing what I came to do in terms of being humble and relatable and down to earth has not been serving me well. It has been leaving me out here vulnerable to attacks that I don't see coming, because I feel like I see myself like everyone else. But when you look something like this, with even with 4C hair, full lips, Black girl features, it's just inevitable, unfortunately, that this particular look has been and will continue to be triggering for people. And don't combine it with having a resume with you or being able to articulate yourself well. Don't add a bit of fashion, or you happen to have your own style that you carry off well. If you look something like this, you gotta stay ready, because you cannot be relatable enough not to generate hate. You can't, because people's backgrounds and experiences in life are what they are, and they're going to bring them to you, and you are going to trigger them, and you just have to accept it. And once you accept it, then you don't have to be vulnerable to attacks. Once you accept it, you won't continuously be disappointed and caught off guard, when people dislike you or do things to sabotage you for external reasons beyond your control. You will be better positioned to just go on ahead and stop being relatable, stop trying to be relatable, and go on ahead and give yourself permission to be whatever the highest version of you is. Recognizing that whatever gifts you have, that have been bestowed upon you, that you've been able to maintain or whatever, are gifts. And just allowing yourself to, you can still be quiet and kind. You can still be quiet and confident. You can still be quiet and helpful. But, you definitely do better just to go on ahead and accept it. Like who you are and how people perceive you and what they might try to do to you because of that. It's just a better way to live, because even when you're older, it's going to be somebody older who still is jealous. So yes, just go on ahead on and go ahead on and accept that you got this exotical brand. Embrace it fully, and then hopefully you can help others in some way, even if it's just by being a good display of confidence. I was at like a coffee shop this evening, and I looked up after having been working for like 30 minutes, and the two baristas were literally like staring at me and like watching me work. And they were really kind and, or polite, I should say, very polite, very well mannered. And I was just in there minding my own business. And I took something away from that, because that's what I need to do in real life. I need to show up as my most authentic self. I need to prepare myself to face the world however I see fit, whatever I want to do to my hair, to my face, to my skin, whatever way I want to dress. I just need to do that and mind my own business whilst doing that, and be kind and polite while doing that, and just let people experience me however they are, however they want to. And oftentimes, I just feel like they will do better and be better served by the highest version of you than the most relatable version of you. The most relatable version of you, I don't know if it's that they pick up on the fact that there's some inauthenticity there, that you're presenting them with a watered down version of you, and it makes them even more resentful, or it's harder for them to respect that, or I'm not sure what it is. But one thing I know for sure is that the most relatable version of you is in fact inauthentic. It is an inauthentic representation of who you are, because it is watered down. And I think in the authenticity, it makes it even harder for you, because you're not even able to step in your full confidence, because of what you're doing, what you're trying to project into the world. So everybody's going to be happier in the long run when you just, accept it and just keep your senses about yourself, because it can be a lot easier. It can be a whole lot easier. Just let people watch you, do you, in a coffee shop, at work, at Bible study, wherever you are. Still be who you are. And I just feel like overall, that's one of the biggest things I've learned this year. You are not going to be rewarded for being relatable. Thanks for listening.